Hello there and welcome to our webinar, Discover Enscape for TestFit. So great to see so many people here with us today. We are live, so feel free to interact with us throughout the next hour. You can respond to polls that we'll launch shortly and also share your questions and comments in the chat pane, so please do get involved. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gemma De Silva. I'm part of the Enscape marketing team. Unfortunately, our webcams aren't working today in GoToWebinar, so sadly you can't see us. But yeah, hello. And today it's not just me, we have three guest speakers who will be joining us to talk about all things Enscape and TestFit as well. So first up, we will have Peter Mitev, who will introduce Enscape and the new SDK integration. Peter is VP of the Visualization Product Group here at Enscape. And then Kai, who is part of the application engineering team, will provide you with a quick Enscape demo in case you're not too familiar with our real-time rendering and visualization tool. And then we'll dive into another demo with Clifton Harness, CEO for TestFit, where you'll get to see exactly how the new integration works. And following all of that, we'll hopefully have some time left to answer a few of your questions live as well. So, but we'll also be answering them behind the scenes throughout the webinar. So please feel free to ask as many questions as you like throughout the session. But before we get going, we're going to launch a couple of polls. So let's launch the first one now. So the first question is, which tool do you currently use? We'd love to know, do you use Enscape? Do you use TestFit? Perhaps you use both or maybe neither. So if you click on the relevant button there, we'll have a look at those results in a moment. So we'll close this, give you another couple of seconds. And let's have a look at those results. Okay, so most people are using Enscape, great, and quite a few using TestFit and Enscape as well. Fantastic. Okay, and then we just have one more poll. Let's have a quick look at who we have in the audience. So, which best describes your role? Architect, designer, urban planner, developer, or perhaps something else? If it is something else, then feel free to pop that into the chat pane. We'd love to see who we have in the audience today. So once again, let's have a look at those results. And largely we have architects with us, a few designers and developers as well. So welcome everybody, thanks for joining us. I am now going to hand things over to Peter so that we can start the webinar. Let me hand over to you, Peter, now. I'm going to make you the presenter, you can share your screen. And we will get going.
All right, hopefully everybody could hear my screen, and Gemma, hopefully you yell at me if we can.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Yes? Awesome.
Yes, great.
Welcome everybody, very glad that you're with us today. Honestly, I wasn't expecting that we would have so many Enscape users in the audience today, so maybe I'll be a little quicker through the Enscape intro slides, but I know there are at least some among us that aren't Enscape users or maybe aren't familiar with what we do, so I do want to just make that introduction so that we're all on the same page there. So for those of you that are totally new to Enscape, we're software for real-time visualization for designers, architects, engineers, planners, really anybody working in the design and delivery of the built environment. Real-time is really our focus, it's our priority, and it's very important when we think about our product and kind of the value proposition that it brings, because real-time visualization is really a lot more than just a pretty picture and output that you do every now and then. It's a process, it's ongoing. As you add more detail, as you bring more certainty into your projects, you want to see that, and you want to see the impact that it has and how it changes over time. And that's why we really want us to be effective as a design tool, not just a production tool, but primarily as a design tool. And of course, we do need that pretty picture every now and then. It's very easy and nice to share with people, with clients, with partners, but it's really not the focus. The focus is the process, it's the design process. And because of that, we kind of position ourselves in line with that design process, because I think before what we would always see is this kind of split between design and visualization, this little top process right here, which is that every time you kind of get to a milestone or a deliverable, you have to do a save as, a model export, or just some kind of split of your design intelligence and create this now dedicated thing for the purpose of visualization. And of course, it's a visualization of a point in time. So we want to challenge that process, and again, be really integrated, be a part of that process, and allow visualization to happen as soon as design changes, so that everybody can be together informed about the state of the project, the state of the design, how it's evolving, and what impact the different design decisions are having. So just a little visual here. Kai will do a much more robust and comprehensive demo here in a second, but just kind of a visual to illustrate that adding up of detail to a project and how different it can look with and without these different pieces of information. So again, part of the reason why we really want to solve design problems, not just production problems, but primarily the problems that come out of everyday design. So a little bit more about Enscape. Again, for those of you that are new to our journey, new to our story, I want to take you through some important numbers to Enscape. We are 6 years old right now. We have 110 employees as of just this month, with 22 unique nationalities, which is really, really exciting for us, especially as we continue to grow and see that number continue to rise. We have over 22,000 commercial customers globally. We have about 85 of the top 100 global architecture firms, and that's really the primary source of our user base is architecture and interior design. We do have a growing number, especially in engineering and construction, some developers even in some specialty companies like you see here on the bottom right, but our core market really is architects and interior designers. And again, as of last month, fresh number, we have 200,000 unique monthly users, which is exciting and in some ways very, very challenging for us. We support the platforms that you see here, and we really act as a plugin. We don't have a standalone version. We really believe in being, again, integrated to that design software and to that design process so that we don't split or force the user to split between a source of truth when creating something. So today, of course, the focus isn't just Enscape, it's Enscape plus TestFit. So I want to talk a little bit about how we got here and why we're able to have Enscape and TestFit be together as one piece of software. So today our platform is Windows, desktop, laptop, but it's the Windows environment. And when I think of the full Enscape product, I can kind of break it down into 3 high-level categories. We have on top our web services, things like our asset library, material library, cloud-hosted resources, and different functionalities that get delivered to the user. And right in the middle, we have our renderer, which is, of course, the big thing, right? The exciting thing, the visual thing. And that wouldn't be too possible or too valuable really without also a CAD layer, which takes in that information from your BIM, your CAD, all the platforms that we just saw, and it feeds it into the renderer in a structured way. So when we look at the full Enscape product, this is really it. And what we've done now for the first ever time is that we've taken a piece of that out, just our renderer, and we've created an application programming interface that other companies can integrate into different tools that they're developing so that we can be that rendering and visualization layer on top of their intelligence and their core value proposition. So we're calling this the Enscape Software Development Kit, SDK for short, just so you know what that vocabulary means if you see it again. And again, for right now, it's really just the renderer piece of our bigger product and that functionality that we're opening up. So without further ado, we'll do a quick Enscape demo here in a second, but today we're here to talk about TestFit again. They are our first SDK partner. We're really, really excited to have them on board. Clifton and the rest of his team were incredibly eager and cooperative and enthusiastic throughout the whole process. So we're really excited that we were finally able to get it across the hurdle, to be able to talk about it, to be able to release it and see what the community can do with it. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Kai for a quick demo, and we'll talk about Enscape and TestFit a little bit more.
Thank you, Peter. And I'm going to share my screen and you should see what I'm seeing. Yeah, so as Peter already mentioned, Enscape is a real-time rendering solution that tries to be as close to the existing designer architects workflows as possible. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to show you the default sample project that comes with Revit in this case. We do also support other solutions like SketchUp, Rhino, ArchiCAD, and Vectorworks. But I don't want to go into too much detail here since we've seen most of you know Enscape already. But for the few that aren't familiar with it yet, I just opened my Revit here and I could show you one of our beautiful pre-designed models, but I thought I'd just show you this existing one that we did not touch, did not alter. And oh, sorry, I misclicked here. Of course, that can happen and minimized Enscape, but let's bring it back up. 1 second. There we are. So what Enscape does is it reads your model automatically from scratch and loads it automatically into the Enscape engine and allows you to explore it immediately in without any roadblocks or anything in between. And not just that, the most amazing thing is probably that it is also connected to any professional software that we support all the time. So you can essentially continue working like you did before. Any updates that you will perform, not just moving objects around like I show you here, but also like applying section boxes, accessing the 3D views in that software, like this one with a section perspective, for example. All of that just is being supported immediately by default. So it is great is a great tool to allow you to get a better feeling for your model while you are exploring it. And also, of course, live presenting to clients and partners, but also to generate high quality marketing content right away. So to show you that just briefly, I'm gonna pick a more interesting background here to make for a nice environment. I'm gonna change the daytime. By the way, the location of this, or the geolocation, is also being taken from the host software. And from here on, I could fit the scene with one of our more than 2,500 assets that you could place in the scene, with one of our materials that we provide as well. Or I can just get going and, for example, make a rendering. And now I'm doing a 5-minute demo here. However, I will go into my settings and change the resolution from full HD to ultra HD 4K, just because I want to show you how quickly you can perform a high quality rendering with Enscape. So probably before I can even finish this sentence, if I just slow down a little bit, the rendering is already done. Apart from that, you can also create 360-degree panoramas that you can share via our web service immediately. I can set up and render a video, and I could probably still do that in the remaining 2 minutes. But if I wanted to, I can also combine all of that right away with virtual reality. So it's just one click away. I have an Oculus Rift headset here, and whenever I want to, I can just enable VR mode and, for example, have a client explore the scene in this immersive way. And if I perform any changes to that model, that will pop up in this virtual reality presentation as well. Now, let me actually go back to that video, because I'm just going to finish that real quick while telling you what else you can do with Enscape, because you can't just create rendered content like that, like videos and panoramas. You can even create distributable files, standalone experiences. Wait a second, just switching my video quality back from Ultra HD to Full HD to export the video. And I could even create a standalone exe file that I can share with anybody without the need of an additional license. And that standalone file is virtual reality compatible as well. So you can create your own little VR experiences straight from your professional model without leaving your existing workflows, with full control from the host software. And with 2 clicks, create a high quality VR experience whenever you want, immediately. So lots to show about Enscape that we could explore now, but and I think that is a perfect fit for the TestFit software as well. And I think we really match the this field of interest there. You get results immediately and quickly, and you get a great representation of the actual finished building model design. And we facilitate communication that way, prevent misunderstandings, and well, just get you beautiful graphics now together with TestFit. And with that, my 5 minutes are over. So I would like to, well, get to the actual new development here. And I would love Clifton to show us how this works together with TestFit.
Brilliant, thank you, Kai. So Clifton, I'm going to hand over to you and we can jump into your demo. So just made you presenter. Wonderful, can see your screen there. That's great.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, he can hear you as well.
Awesome, thanks, Kai. All right, so my name is Clifton Harness, co-founder here at TestFit. I have a B-Arc, background in real estate development, co-founded TestFit in 2017. Our mission is to democratize data-driven building design, and we do it by solving feasibility for commodity buildings. And to date, we raised $2 million in 2020 with 13 employees, and then their backgrounds are awesome. Every one of our employees is incredible. We've released 15 configurators to date, and I'll get into a bit why configurators are important, and then with one major integration. So we consider this integration with Enscape a huge accomplishment. The goal with Enscape was to go from something more analytical and diagrammatic like this to something that could be shared and a bit more of a vision up the chain of command. So our historic focus has been on housing. We have configurators for wrap buildings, podiums, garden apartments, urban, wrap podium, liner, townhomes, single family rentals, volumetric modular. And in that, our customers are architects, developers, and general contractors. So this is the ecosystem that our customers are in. And the goal of our TestFit software is for basically to eliminate deal cycle opportunity costs with these groups of people. So architect gets a site from a developer, he'll create a plan. The developer, that plan takes roughly 8 hours, traditional methods. The developer will then get a better idea about the deal, hire a contractor to do pre-con. They'll kind of get more of a solid idea about what's the pricing on this deal. It goes back to the developer, then invariably will ask for changes from the architect. So our goal at TestFit is really to solve 5 things for feasibility, and it's the building design, the building pricing, a bit of the pro forma, the land modeling, and then the zoning and compliance. And for people that don't know us, we've been around for a while, 4 years. This is a architect that we work with, Tom Rettenauer. They've been using TestFit for a while. It's helping them solve deals. And then a case study that we did with a developer, they ended up getting an increase in units, and then could change the size of a park to make it bigger. But their point was in the design sessions, we can get to amassing or a yield that's probably within 10%, 30 minutes, within 30 minutes or an hour. So it's cutting, taking something that takes a long time and turning it into something that takes less time. All right, so technology demonstration. So I've got alpha, parking lot. All right, we're gonna reset. Okay. So I do have a site in mind. I'm gonna go to, let's see, underlay panel. So this is TestFit. Type in an address. It's this little area in North Dallas that needs a bit of a master plan, I think. So I'm gonna go to roads. You can see my roads here. Tell you what, I'll flip it to aerial so we can see the sort of massing of the buildings a bit better. And so I'm gonna go to roads, and then let's see, editor. Okay, so these are my roads. What I would like to do is lay out a road network on this site, so I can kind of chop the building into, or the site into bite-sized pieces. So I have a street and an avenue that I think are my kind of my two. They have sidewalks, and then this one has parallel parking. So I'm gonna go with street and avenue. So street. I'm just going to get the sort of boundary of this site inside this street. And then I've got my avenue. And the thing that I noticed about this site was there's kind of this walkable road here. I guess for Texas, you would call this walkable. So I'm going to try to latch onto this idea with my roads. Let's see here. So I'll start here. And I don't want this terminus to end up like in a pond. So maybe I'll cut this road short here. And then maybe I have a north-south avenue here. All right, so I've got a 12-acre deal here, a 10-acre deal here, and then a 7-acre deal here. These are all a little bit too big, frankly. So I'm gonna see, I've got a road here, so maybe I'll use this road as another road. And then there's a road here. So I'm just kind of pulling these roads through, and breaking my sites down to be a little bit smaller. Okay, this one might be too skinny. Okay, so I have a rudimentary road network here that I can work with. The next thing to do is to get some information on site. So I'm gonna just click inside these sites, and TestFit's gonna recognize that I want to configure the site plan inside the road network. So I'm gonna click, and it's grabbing a wrap algorithm that basically just, it's a bunch of information. I'm not done yet. So right now, if I go to site, click in all, just as a baseline, if I were to put wraps on every single site, I'd get about 1,800 units. I don't want to do that. Like, frankly, I'm looking at some higher density over here already. And if they can get structured parking over here, likely I could probably go into like a podium or 5/2 configuration that might be a little bit more successful on this site. And then I am going to want to create some kind of design element that maybe is like at the center of this project, like maybe a park in here. So site B, I feel like I'm going to trash that, go back to roads. I'm going to add just a bisector street here. And then site A, I'm going to go ahead and trash that to pull this in. So I think I need to have like a bit of a park here, and that might be what that is. And then this is going to be a site. It feels a little bit better. But I do want that density, right? I just made an argument to myself about having more density. So that might mean that all of these sites are a bit too big to begin with. Like this one is 5 acres. They're all about 5 to 6 acres. So let's get, we'll cut this road one more time. We'll use this to cut this site in two. And then site A, I think I'm gonna trash it. And then I'll do this. Okay, I feel like this is maybe a better starting point. And I'm gonna focus my design and configurator efforts around this park from a main plan perspective. So I have a terminus here. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the building inputs. I'm gonna define my garage, maybe on the back side of that site. And then I'm gonna go into manual mode. I'm gonna just getting in from the massing, maybe I want to void here, and this could be a park. So that feels a bit more correct. It goes into this park here. I'm going to move this parking deck off of the main area. Likely, these two sites are going to be good candidates for like a 5/2, maybe with some liner units. So what I'll do is I'll go to the configurator, give me a podium fill, go to the building inputs, and then I want to line my garage. I want them to be structured. So that's what that building looks like. And so what this means is that like on the ground floor, I'll have a much higher opportunity of maybe getting some live work units, or maybe this needs to be retail space out here to begin with. I'll tell you what, I think it probably needs to be a retail space. So I'm gonna right click this, I'm gonna take it down to level 1. This is a space. Get my space right there on the side of the road. I'm going to change the color to, retails are always kind of a red. Okay, so I've got that addressing that a little bit better, and then we're kind of getting more of a broken up mass. Maybe this part has a chance of being making it through. It's really going to be active. Okay, so I want to visualize this in Enscape now. TestFit colors are awful, frankly, when I render these. The reds, the oranges, the blues, and the greens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a kit of parts edit, where I'm just going to change every site to a more clean sort of color palette. And so with TestFit, we have studios, 1 beds, 2 beds. These are inline units, and then these are the cap and corner units. So we're solving every site with these kit of parts, right? So I'm just going to go through. We're going to get them all to this sort of yellow color because when I render it, there are other colors. It looks pretty awful. I'll tell you what, we'll leave some site in so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so to render, I'm going to go to the rendering tab, and then I'm going to launch Enscape. And it's going to load. There we go. So important thing, I'll do Windows. There we go. And then in TestFit, I'm going to go full screen by hitting F11. So we have view lock. We're locking the view from TestFit's camera to Enscape's camera. You can also navigate around in Enscape if you're used to navigating with Enscape, but it's not something that we focused on. And in Kai's demo, you might notice that there's a whole slew of tools inside his Enscape panel. This is not Enscape. This is the version of Enscape that's running inside TestFit. So the features that are built into main Enscape, like they might be there, but we simply need to turn them on, turn them off. There's some things like the asset library that is going to take a bit more work to get integrated, but this is the main rendering engine for Enscape running inside TestFit. Maybe that's the best way to think about it. And you can see we've actually added a couple of assets so far that have been parametrically allocated. And what that simply means is that TestFit has picked up on the fact that there are tree, here, I'll go to the back out of full screen, we'll go to the roads, go into the editor. So where we have a planter, what Enscape is doing is it's saying, okay, or what we're doing is we're saying put a tree inside that planter and then render that tree. And so it's parametric, so I can say, my max run on my planter, let's make it 45 feet. So we're gonna end up with some asymmetrical roads when I resolve. So I'm gonna go back to TestFit, it'll trigger resolve, and then Enscape will update with those new trees. So just by changing the distance that I expect to have a tree, we dropped in an additional tree on the other side of the road. So the parametric allocation of trees works well with roads. It also works well with, let's say, we go insane and decide to build even more parking. In the surface parking tools, we also are placing trees and car assets automatically. So let's maybe give a bit of a demo on how the automatic asset allocation. So you see over here we have a car that's parked and a car that's in transit. So I can decrease the parked car density to maybe 5%. And then we're going to lose some cars, and then maybe I can increase the moving car density to 50%, and we're going to get like a traffic jam. So building out the vision for what story you want to tell is kind of important. So for example, maybe I wouldn't have a huge amount of cars in the middle of the night if I'm doing like a nighttime rendering. So it just calls into question the artistry that architects, or hopefully will give the architects and designers a bit more artistry when they're telling a story. But it's absolutely incredible. Just plugging in Enscape with a couple of trees, you can start to see just the value of the rendering engine. I'm gonna do one more thing in my demo. I'm just gonna place a ton of trees manually. And so I said we're gonna have this park here in the middle. I didn't really give it any trees, and I didn't give it much design love, but place a couple of trees manually. And then Enscape's gonna update with those tree changes. There they are. So I'm going to change the underlay, and then I'll export a PNG. So let's see, here we go. F11 underlay. I actually want the roadmap more than I want the satellite view because I feel like it's a bit more diagrammatic. And that change push to Enscape. Probably could kill it and reopen it. So demo's kind of winding down. You know, now's a good time to start asking some questions. Happy to demonstrate anything in the technology. All right, so I've got my satellite underlay. I think this looks pretty good as a starting point. Maybe I'll get some better shadows, summertime shadows. Can show, you know, how these courtyards are being sheltered from the south sun in Texas. So all right, so you can save views in TestFit, and those views can sync up too. So for example, you would like to record a video, different views.
Wonderful, Clifton. Is that it for the demo? Should we jump into Q&A or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, questions are great.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for demonstrating that. It looks really, really great. And there's been lots of positive comments in the questions as well. So thank you everyone for submitting those. So invite Peter and Kai back into the conversation as well. I am just going to make myself presenter quickly, and then if we do need to share anything else in TestFit, we can always jump back to you, Clifton. There we go. Great. Okay, so first question is for you actually, Clifton. So what other assets besides trees do you have in TestFit?
So renderable assets that have shipped with Enscape inside TestFit is literally one tree and one car. So there's only we can only get better than that. But you know, this was minimum viable, and it demonstrates quite well, you know, the value of the Enscape renderer. Other than that, you know, units, housing units, I mean, lots of stuff can be modeled in TestFit with mass mode.
Fantastic, perfect. Yeah. And next question, is the full functionality of Enscape in TestFit already?
No, it is not. It will be attainable, I think, in the long run, but we need to be very selective with, like, the goal here is to bring the TestFit logic to Enscape in a way, so that way when it's in Enscape, it's set up for success. And that means parametrically allocating assets. It means parametrically allocating windows and doors, and like there's a whole slew of things that we would like to do with this integration that takes the stress of pointing and placing and clicking individual assets away, and we just want to parametrically allocate as much of the building stuff as we can.
Yeah, and part of it too is on the side of Enscape and continuing to develop that SDK. So today this is version 1.0 for us of a public facing SDK, and there's work that we're of course going to continue to do throughout this year, next year, and going forward. But essentially to increase the amount of functionality that we're offering to partners like TestFit. So yeah, today it's about the visual, it's about the renderer, it's about seeing and exporting an image, but in the future, there's no reason why we can't, talk about introducing some of the other pieces of Enscape functionality into a publicly facing integratable feature, whether it's the asset library material or anything else.
Right. So like the goal of these two companies working together is that TestFit, I don't have to go build an entire module for rendering and getting, materials and all of this stuff correct. Like Enscape is an incredible tool that has already figured all that out, and we're going to be relying on them for that in the future.
Brilliant. Thank you both. We have another question here. What kind of manipulation can you do to the building elevations? Can you add windows, for example?
So there's no glazing in TestFit currently. What you can do is create bays and balconies that essentially articulate the form. We just don't have a way of placing windows currently.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Is there a TestFit student license available?
Yes, there is. I think you need to go to our website and sign up for an account with your .edu email, and I think that will give you access.
Lovely. And Enscape also has a student license as well, so you can find the application details for that on our website as well. Can you export videos in TestFit?
Not currently, though you can fire up a screen grab and move around. So, I mean, I think the screen grab technology is becoming pretty ubiquitous. I would look forward to improving that export option using the Enscape SDK though, because they already have figured out most of the technical problems with creating the videos.
Brilliant. Can you render a view from TestFit using Enscape?
Yes.
Excellent. Are there any Enscape materials on the TestFit roadmap?
Can't answer that question yet.
No problem. As I just lose my voice here, let me try and find the next question here. If I am already a TestFit client, do I get Enscape in TestFit for free?
Yes. So everybody that has a TestFit license right now will have Enscape as part of their subscription, I think, until Q1, maybe January. There'll be a decision that they can make whether or not they want to fully integrate with Enscape or not. That's the plan right now.
Brilliant, thank you. And Peter or Kai, is there another Enscape update on the roadmap for this year, or do I need to wait for next year now for the next update?
Oh, we have one just around the corner. 3.2 is coming out. Exactly. November. Kai, you can double check me here on the correct super final underscore v2 date. But yeah, it's just around the corner. Last update of the year. And then we're looking forward to 3 updates next year. 2 are going to be really major updates, and then 1 is going to be around the summer, somewhat smaller update, more quality of life improvements rather than big ticket features. But yeah, 3 next year and 1 just around the corner.
Just around the corner, and you can review the upcoming features right on our website on the roadmap, amongst others, asset placement in Enscape, to scatter around 3D assets right from the renderer into the design application, and many more. Stay tuned. We're very much looking forward to that.
Very exciting. We do have a couple more questions, so let's take those quickly before wrapping up. Can massing building blocks be more generic and not balconies or parking blocks? So I'm guessing that's a question for you, Clifton.
Yeah, we have an entire massing tool set that you can create any shape that you'd like. Though I would say that it's, the housing functions that we do for most of our customers is where they're at. So it's in addition to the configurator. I wouldn't say that it could stand alone as its own tool.
Brilliant, thank you, Clifton. And one last question for you. Can you export the TestFit model to Revit and SketchUp?
So SketchUp export is native. You know, what we realized was a lot of our customers were essentially getting the TestFit export into SketchUp so that they could then get it into Enscape. It wasn't, you know, so that they could do more modeling in SketchUp. So we've basically shortcutted that quite a bit. And then on Revit, we have a whole blog about how to transition TestFit BIM into Revit BIM. So, you know, Nat McDonald, I think maybe can paste a link in the chat to that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And Alexine has also shared a link to a landing page. So if you do want to try out the new integration, just click on that link and then you can test it out. So with that, we've answered all the questions. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you to Peter, Kai and Clifton for presenting to us today. And if you would like to provide some feedback on the webinar today, we would love to hear it. So as you leave, there will be an exit survey that will pop up as you leave. And if you could let us know what we could do to improve these webinars for next time, we would love to hear it. And in the next day or two, you'll also receive an email with a link to the recording and some extra useful links there. So keep an eye out for that. So thanks once again to everyone for joining us, and we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on another webinar soon. Thanks so much, everyone.